8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lakshman Fonseca and read by Mario Vijayawardena. The headlines. The Sri Lanka High Commission in Kenya has arranged a consignment of syringes. The Department of the Registration of Persons suspends all public services until further notice. A special gazette to make all health guidelines issued by the Director General of Health Services a law. The Bank of Ceylon says there is no foreign currency crisis to open LCs. No weddings to take place at homes or receptions from tonight. Afghanistan ready to ensure a peaceful transition of power to the Taliban militants. The twice postponed Royal Thurmian annual big match postponed once again. The Sri Lanka High Commission in Kenya has arranged a consignment of 0.5 ml syringes from Kenya. As the initial order, 2 million syringes will be sent to Sri Lanka shortly. The Kenyan government has arranged the contribution in support of the ongoing vigorous vaccination campaign in Sri Lanka under the leadership of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The syringes of 0.5 ml specifications manufactured by the Revital Healthcare EPZ Limited in Kenya are considered to be of high quality that complies with WHO standards. The High Commissioner of Sri Lanka to Kenya, Vellupillai Kanhanathan, accepted the first consignment of 800,000 syringes and facilitated its dispatch to Sri Lanka. This is the first time that a COVID-19 related essential item produced in Kenya is being sent to Sri Lanka to support the current inoculation drive in Sri Lanka. The Department of Registration of Persons decides to suspend all public services until further notice. The department said in a statement that several of its officers had been diagnosed with COVID and others had been identified as associates. The department says the head office and all provincial offices are closed to the public from tomorrow until further notice. The Commissioner General of the Department, Viyani Gunatilaka, said necessary steps will be taken to deliver the national identity cards to the applicants who have already submitted their applications. The Commissioner General added special arrangements have been made to issue identity cards for those who require obtaining national identity cards promptly for emergency and essential purposes such as for examinations, interviews or to obtain passports. A special gazette notification will be issued to make all health guidelines issued by the Director General of Health Services a law. The Minister of Health, Pavitra Vanyarachi, says it is scheduled to be announced tomorrow. She said at a meeting with the heads of news agencies at the Ministry of Health yesterday. The minister also said that steps are being taken to issue another set of guidelines tightening the security at boundaries of the Western Province. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Bank of Ceylon does not face a foreign currency crisis and has sufficient dollars to open LCs. The chairman of the Bank of Ceylon, Kanchana Ratwatte, said that while other banks may be reluctant to open LCs, the BOC will open LCs not only for their customers but for their other clients as well. He also said that the BOC also paid large amounts of US dollars for the import of COVID-19 related vaccines and even facilitated the import of oil, food items and recently for LP gas. The chairman said that he was very optimistic about the future. He added that he believes that the pandemic too would subside and affected sectors like the tourism sector will bounce back even stronger and economic recovery too will commence. He says the government also wants new entrepreneurs to emerge especially from rural areas and to assist towards this crusade. He revealed that the bank officials have visited the people in the remote areas and have presented them with plans and assistance to reach the next level in their businesses. The bank also has planned to assist these micro startup enterprises to reach the next level to enable them to enter into the export circle. The Army Commander General Shavendra Silva says the authorities have decided not to allow weddings to take place at homes or reception halls with effect from midnight on Tuesday the 17th. The Army Commander General Shavendra Silva added no social gatherings or functions will be permitted from today. He also said restaurants can operate with a maximum 50% capacity. He requests the public and restaurant owners to take maximum efforts to control the capacity and discourage the gatherings. The instructions will remain in effect until further notice. The Army Commander also requests the general public to refrain from visiting public places. The police have taken measures to strictly deal with drivers who provide false information upon entering the expressways to cross provincial borders. Police spokesperson Senior DIG Ajit Rohana says only personnel attached to essential services can cross the border and they are required to provide the necessary documentation at the checkpoints. He says it has been a habitual action to use the expressways to cross provincial borders. All byroads between provinces are also manned by police officers, he added. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says the government has taken measures to launch the vaccination program for children over 12 years. The newly established COVID ward for children at the Hambantota Hospital was opened today, and addressing the function online, the Prime Minister added the program will be implemented systematically. Priority will be given to children with various medical incapacities. According to the Health Ministry, the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccines have been administered across Sri Lanka to date, as a mass drive is underway to inoculate all citizens above 30 years of age. That's local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Sri Lanka High Commission in Kenya has arranged a consignment of 0.5 ml syringes from Kenya. As the initial order, 2 million syringes will be sent to Sri Lanka shortly. The Kenyan government has arranged the contribution in support of the ongoing vigorous vaccination campaign in Sri Lanka under the leadership of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The syringes of 0.5 ml specification manufactured by the Revital Healthcare EPZ Limited in Kenya are considered to be of high quality that complies with WHO standards. The High Commissioner of Sri Lanka to Kenya, Vellapillai Kanahanathan, accepted the first consignment of 800,000 syringes and facilitated its dispatch to Sri Lanka. This is the first time that a COVID-19 related essential item produced in Kenya is being sent to Sri Lanka to support the current inoculation drive in Sri Lanka.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And now in Watchlight, the health authorities urge the general public to follow the health guidelines stipulated by the health authorities strictly. It is reported that an alarming number of business establishments, trade establishments, and individuals have a sheer disregard to the health guidelines. The authorities say they are doing their best to keep the public safe. However, the public cannot succeed if individuals and institutions act irresponsibly. That came to you in Watchlight, and now in World News Headlines. The Afghanistani Interior Minister says negotiations ongoing to ensure peaceful transition of power to Taliban militants. At least 20 people killed after fuel tank explodes in Lebanon. India aims to invest 100 trillion rupees in infrastructure to boost economic growth and create jobs. Taliban militants have reached the outskirts of Afghanistan's capital, Kabul. The Interior Minister says negotiations have taken place to ensure a peaceful transition of power. A Taliban statement says fighters had been ordered to remain on the edges of the capital. A Taliban spokesman told the BBC that they assure the people in Afghanistan that there will be no revenge on anyone. Meanwhile, Russia is planning to convene an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council to discuss the situation in Afghanistan. It says it will not be closing its embassy because it has been provided with security assurances by the Taliban. At least 20 people were killed and 79 injured in a fuel tank explosion in the Akkar region in northern Lebanon. Lebanon is suffering from a severe fuel shortage, leading to long lines at gas stations and extended blackouts. Security sources said that the Lebanese army had seized a hidden fuel storage tank in the town of Al-Talil and was in the midst of handing out gasoline to residents when the explosion took place. About 200 people were nearby at the time of the explosion. Local Al Jadid TV channel reported from eyewitnesses that an individual who ignited a lighter was the cause. India aims to invest 100 trillion rupees in infrastructure to boost economic growth and create jobs. Prime Minister Narendra Modi laying out the national priorities on the country's 75th Independence Day, which falls today, said the investments will be made in India's logistics sector to help integrate the country's varied modes of transport. Modi said it will cut travel time and increase industry productivity. It will also help make the Indian industry globally competitive and develop future economic zones. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. The Afghanistani Interior Minister says negotiations ongoing to ensure a peaceful transition of power to the Taliban militants. At least 20 people killed after fuel tank explodes in Lebanon. India aims to invest 100 trillion rupees in infrastructure to boost economic growth and create jobs. That was World News.
Development News is brought to you by Quality Matters Than Price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melba RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melba RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Win lakhs and lakhs with CIB Janajaya. 40% discount for your bills till 15th of August. 6 hand tractors at the Grand Row. CIB Janajaya.
The United Nations Development Programme in Sri Lanka has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with CBL Investments Limited to support and encourage private sector partnership and innovation on green development towards operationalizing a green recovery. This collaboration seeks to build green value chains through the promotion of partnerships between farmers and private sector stakeholders while promoting environmentally friendly agricultural practices.
Development News was brought to you by Quality Matters Than Price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melba RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melba RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Win lakhs and lakhs with CIB Janajaya. 40% discount for your bills till 15th of August. 6 hand tractors at the Grand Row. CIB Janajaya.
And now in sports news, Sri Lanka's premier esports company Gamer.lk announces the Singer Esports Premier League. The event will be held throughout August, September and October of this year. 9 of the franchises are based on the Sri Lankan provinces: the Eastern Gladiators, the Kandurata Kings, the Northern Rangers, the Rajarata Giants, the Sabaragamuwa Knights, the Southern Sharks, the Uva Bandits, the Wayamba Riders and the Western Warriors. Esports has been growing at a rapid pace in Sri Lanka over the last decade. Esports was recognized by the Sports Ministry of Sri Lanka as the 70th national sport in 2019. There are an estimated 4 million gamers in the country. The twice-postponed 142nd annual big match cricket encounter between Royal College Colombo and St Thomas's College Mount Lavinia has been postponed once again. It was planned to be conducted at Suryababa on the 9th, 10th and the 11th of September after obtaining the necessary approval. with logistical and technical arrangements. The main reason, according to a letter jointly issued by the two heads of schools, Reverend Mark Bilimoria, the warden of St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, and MVS Gunathilaka, the principal of Royal College, Colombo, states that the decision to further postpone the uninterrupted big match was purely based on the present serious health crisis and humanitarian concerns. That was sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Savings account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Hemas Holdings, a consumer and healthcare provider, has risen 136% in the June 2021 quarter, recovering from a lockdown last year. The GP of Hemas Holdings has grown 33.9% to 4.7 billion rupees, and the cost of sales grows at a slower 24% to 11.7 billion rupees. Hemas Holdings Group Chief Executive Officer Kasturi C. Wilson says that they are optimistic about the government's vaccination program and anticipate a past economic recovery in the medium term. She also said the resurgence of the COVID-19 positive cases in the current wave and the interprovincial and movement restrictions slowed the growth in the latter part of the June quarter.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Savings account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
And now in economic news, Sri Lanka's Apparel Exporters Association says it is widening its supply chain transparency and highlighting ethical practices. In order to win buyers and raise standards to boost the industry's brand image, the association has revamped its website and modernized its logo to showcase its values. The chairman of the Apparel Exporters Association, Arun Hadramani, says they do feel the new branding and website will strongly help the industry with better marketing. The new loop of the association, the logo rather of the association, represents the teardrop shape of Sri Lanka, the female workforce of the industry, and the pearl to signify the island's identity as the pearl of the Indian Ocean. That was economic news.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Met Department says a few showers will occur in the western, Sabaragamuwa central and the northwestern provinces and in the Gala and Mathura districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the northern, eastern and Uva provinces. Fairly strong gusty winds up to 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected in the Hambantota district. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize the damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during the thunder showers.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. The Sri Lanka High Commission in Kenya has arranged a consignment of syringes. The Department of the Registration of Persons suspends all public services until further notice. A special gazette to mark all health guidelines issued by the Director General of Health Services a law. The Bank of Ceylon says there is no foreign currency crisis to open LCs. No weddings to take place at homes or receptions from tonight. Afghanistan ready to ensure a peaceful transition of power to the Taliban militants. The twice postponed Royal Fermion annual big match postponed once again. That concludes this news broadcast. You're with Radio Sri Lanka.